Portions of this show are recorded.
Strap in and be prepared.
You just heard Baby J about 3 minutes give his entire A to Z on what was going on. I didn't interrupt you.
I don't even I got to everything, honestly.
No, you didn't get to everything.
Interesting guests.
Kelly Graves, Mike Parker, Josh Pate, Melissa Lombardi, Yogi Roth, who said that Justin and I are smart.
Sharp opinions.
I think Dan Lanning sitting in his office going, you know what, fine, give us the toughest road to win the national championship. That's what it should be.
I think that this team is going to go as far as Malik Murphy takes them. There's a lot to like about this offense if he's who we think he could be.
And some smiles.
Is this thing on?
Is this thing working? No, that's why you got to do this. You got to go. Hello? Hello? Testing, testing,
it's like the little
testing.
girl in Nemo where she's tapping on the glass.
Fishy! Fishy, wake up, Fishy!
It's Danny Havel.
We have to be more specific. We have a lot of pickle things going on, apparently.
Justin Grossweiner.
I've been wrong before, but that's what I think.
Danny and Justin starts now on Fox Sports Eugene and Newport.
Hello, neighbors, and welcome high atop the Delta Tri in the Crystal Palace, the Bigfoot Beverages Studios in Newport and Eugene. This is the fastest 60 minutes in sports talk. It's the Danny and Justin radio program. You can follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Danny and Justin. You can also follow us, Fox Sports Eugene, Fox Sports Newport on your Twitterverse, and wherever you pod. Your pod platform, we are there. We are like a weed that never totally gets pulled. You keep pulling it and we keep popping up like a bad penny. We are the Danny and Justin radio program. I am Danny Havel. Right over there is my tag team partner, Justin Grossweiner. We call him Baby J. What a boy!
Well, I don't have any great metaphors like that. That was a good metaphor there.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
I'm doing good.
We have controversy, by the way.
We do.
As
how so?
Well, I'm doing the scores for the week. Coach Mark went 4-1 this weekend. So did Goose. So we need to go to the tiebreaker, but I don't have the tiebreakers on here.
Oh, I have those.
Okay, give me the tiebreakers. Brad was human this week. Brad went 2-3 this week.
Wow.
So I'm pretty happy that I beat Brad, but I'm also even happier that Goose, the good guys, won this week. I went 4-1 last week, although Brad went 5-0 last week, previous week, and then Goose this week defended our honor, went 4-1. But we've got to go to the tiebreaker. So, by the way, I'm talking about the big bets. By the way, friends, thanks for tuning in, especially out there in Newport at 92.7 KNCU. So, I am down by a game. Baby J, you got to pick it up, dude. You're falling behind. Goose is now 9-6. I'm 8-7. You're 6-9 on the season coming up.
Well, I'm only 3 games under.
No, it's early. So this is the thing. It's early on in the season. So not bad. But yeah, Mark. So Mark took Arizona, Tulane, Cal, Georgia Tech, and you got to be impressed that I'm reading all of that.
Yeah, and remember I switched one of the names. I told you I switched.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So it was Brad that went 4-1.
I wrote someone down in the wrong column. It was a little bit of an emergency. That's why I was using highlighter.
All right, so sorry, Coach Mark, you did not do as well as I thought you did. Brad went 4-1. So Brad's probably like banging on his radio right now saying, Danny, what are you talking about? Sorry. All right, so but Brad's not eligible to win. He already won the first week. He kicked our patootie. Brad's on a roll. Brad went 4-1,
really knows what he's talking about,
5-0,
clearly.
and 4-1.
Brad should be sitting in this chair instead of me.
No, we're not going to replace you.
No, I hope not.
But so it doesn't matter. Honestly, the tiebreaker doesn't matter then because Brad's not. I would love to have somebody else besides Brad beat us.
Right.
One of the listeners. We're going to do it on Twitter this week. We're going to do it on the phone. I'm going to do it from Hawaii this week. Sorry.
That's pretty fun, though.
I'm not going to make anybody jealous, but I am going to be doing. I'm pretty much out for the next 2 weeks after today, just so everybody understands. Not that you're going to care one way or the other. Justin cares more than you do. I'm just going to tell you right now when I'm gone.
Probably. Yeah.
What do you mean probably? Give me throw me a bone here.
What do you mean? I'm just agreeing with you.
Okay. Well, you said probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're saying, yeah, my response and agreement was probably.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
probably so.
On the program today, we have Mustang Isaac Streeter joining us from the Portland Tribune. He covers everything Oregon State.
And Oregon.
Yeah, and Oregon, but in the football season, it's more Oregon State, correct?
I think he's got a couple articles about Oregon as well. We'll have to confirm with him. But
Okay.
yeah, a lot of Oregon State for sure.
So
Which is right now.
I was actually on the Joe Beaver show today talking more about Donnie Reynolds getting his number retired at Corvallis High School. Donnie Reynolds, who was an all-star, and he is a Hall of Famer at the University of Oregon. He graduated from Corvallis High School, was recruited as a baseball player, for the most part, from both schools. But Terry Frey, who was the head coach at the time for University of Oregon, convinced him to come out and play football. He was a two-sport athlete at University of Oregon. He was, at that time, only the third player in Oregon history to rush for over 1,000 yards in a single season. He did that, I believe, in his junior year.
How times have changed.
Yeah, but he was a two-sport athlete at U of O. And again, as I said, inducted into the Oregon Hall of Fame in 1993. Got to meet him, got to talk to him this weekend.
Which is very cool.
Got to hang out with, it's not like we
Like
hung
buddies.
out. Harold Reynolds, who was fantastic, spent like 15 minutes talking to him and his brother Larry, who were up for the ceremony. Number 22 will never be worn by another Corvallis High School football player. They retired his jersey at halftime. It's really interesting because you don't hear about a lot of high school numbers being retired. College, it's common, and especially down in Colorado, it's very common. I'll leave that there. But in other places, and basketball jerseys, you hear about them being retired a lot, but not high school football jerseys being retired. So it was fun. And we got to talk fishing. He lives up in Arch Cape. If you ever want to go fishing, Donnie Reynolds is your guy. He wants to go.
He'll tell you his spots?
Oh, no, he wants to go fishing with you. He's not just going to
That's
tell
what
you
I'm
where to
saying,
go.
though, but
he's going to go
he'll
hang.
take you to his spots?
He's going to go
impressive.
hang. It's pretty cool. So, and that game went on forever. It was a big win for Corvallis. They beat Crescent Valley in what they call the confrontation.
Ooh.
It's
kind of an interesting name.
It's gritty.
The confrontation.
It's a crosstown rivalry. Crescent Valley and Corvallis are both in the same city. Crescent Valley out north of the city. Corvallis, of course, named after the city. That's the high school.
It sounds like an HR term. Like they had a confrontation.
Well,
in the office.
Well, and we're in Civil War week now, and nobody wants to call it Civil War week. For a few years ago, the rivalry game.
Right.
Nah, not on this show. That's not happening.
I literally forget. I'm like, what do we call this now?
No, we call it the Civil War here on the Danny and Justin radio program. So the Oregon Man Clinics hotline at 541-343-5673. I would be remiss if I didn't say that. And again, Isaac Streeter covers Oregon State. He's a Sac State alum. And by the way, I need to confirm this with him. So we broke the news last week that Jurian Dickey was at Diablo Valley Community College. And now, apparently, he's signed with Sac State.
Wow.
So, played a game at Diablo Valley, and we're gonna look this up to make sure, unless this is just like the Twitterverse, going after me and crushing me down.
It'll happen.
It will.
He
Bouncing
he
around
released
a
a
little
statement saying that he's gone from Oregon at the very least.
Yeah, that's the only thing. So it's on his Twitter that says he's received a full ride scholarship from Sacramento State.
All right, there you go.
That was released
That
on
clears things
September
up.
the 12th. It's on his.
Yeah.
So you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing? Are you looking that up at least?
I was looking at his statement on Oregon.
So there's a lot of things going on. College football is upside down yet again, and we're only 4 weeks into it. We're not even Yeah, we're literally 4 weeks into it, right? We had 0 week, week 1, week 2. Oregon went and took care of business in Evanston, Illinois. Kind of I don't want to say stumble out of the gate, but I mean, acceptable with the way the weather was. But of course, both teams have to play in the weather. But they were up 34, and then they just cruised. I mean, they gave up a couple late touchdowns. Tosh Lupoy is probably going to be very upset about that at the end.
Not very happy.
Not very happy guy. Louisiana State University's Brian Kelly has to apologize to a reporter after he went off on them in a press conference. Deshaun Foster is out at UCLA. Oregon State.
What a surprise.
Didn't we call this?
Did we? You and I called it, and then also Brian Beban, who we do
That's
Game
right.
Day on Saturday.
Game Day on
we
Saturday.
also have been talking. We talked about that last week.
That was,
and we talked about it on Friday too during Friday Night Live.
And part of the issue has been is in the portal and in NIL, you're going out and you're buying a player, you hire them as an employee, they need to produce. UCLA has regressed, unfortunately, performance on the field. We can say that abjectly because the proof's in the final score. They've regressed since Chip Kelly. And Deshaun Foster, it is a very short rope. And we're going to talk about this with Trent Bray because it does relate to what's going on in Corvallis right now, is schools are less tolerant for losing, especially when they're trying to grab national spotlight. And again, I'm going to save this for a little bit later when we start talking about Oregon State centric. And it's a bigger bowl down in L.A. for UCLA. I mean, there is a lot of money. There is a lot of investment in the football program. And you cannot come out of the gate and not even, and Justin, correct me, not even be competitive in any of the games they've played. Literally, they have not been competitive.
No, it's been ugly to watch. I mean, it's like high school level stuff at some points. And it all started with Deshaun Foster in the very beginning of his press conference with the Big Ten. Do you remember that? When he came out and said, hey.
Vaguely,
it
but
just
you
was
and
one of those press conferences where you're like.
Then he bans the media from practices and doesn't want to talk to the media. And you and I had a bit of a debate off the air about that where it's like, you know what, I'm not as upset about that because it's like there's a lot of knuckleheads in our industry.
Well, Oregon doesn't allow people to be in their practices.
But people aren't blowing up Dan Lanning for that.
No,
they
but
blew
my
up
issue
Deshaun
with
Foster for that.
My issue is not with that. My issue is not allowing player availabilities after practices. And to basically what he said, which irked me, which was basically, you guys are going to cover the team no matter what we make available to you. Mm-hmm. So I'm not worried about that. And I think that that's a terrible mentality. I think that one thing that Oregon has figured out is that, I mean, the brand of Oregon is the thing that gets them in the door in a lot of places, in recruiting, in their conference. I mean, the brand of Oregon, and that's something that you do. What they do well is they take every little opportunity to push their players, to push their head coaches, to push their sports. They do that. And
they push the culture.
Exactly.
As well. And there's a lot of schools that are now starting to copy, by the way, Danny and Justin.
A ton of them.
On the Bigfoot Beverages Studios, Newport and Eugene.
Do you not remember?
Ducks versus them this year
Yes.
is now, I can see Clemson, Auburn, even Alabama, Texas are trying to copycat what Oregon has produced in terms of having a video encapsulation of what goes on during the week leading up to a game. That is their media push out to everyone, including recruits, to say, come to Oregon.
Absolutely. And that's the kind of stuff that draws in interest, it draws in clicks. And, you know, there's the Dan Lanning saying you don't play for wins, you play for clicks. But the university's playing for clicks. Let's not get it twisted here. The university wants eyes. They want attention. They want that stuff. And it's through substance. If you're doing it right, it's through substance. You can't do what Colorado did. You can't do it through flash. The thing about Oregon, remember a couple of years ago, this is, I think, a great encapsulation of what you're talking about in terms of copying.
I love that word, by the way. Thanks for using it again.
Of course. Do you remember when Nick Saban retired and Dan Lanning was the hot rumor for the coaching job?
He was going to Alabama.
And then all of a sudden he
Kalen
puts
DeBoer.
out a tweet that's something along the lines of I'm
is-
staying. The grass is greener in Eugene or whatever it was. And then
The grass is damn greener
that's
in
right.
Oregon.
Yeah.
Right.
And then every single coach around the country that was like slightly rumored for that job was doing the same thing where they would put out their, it was a recruiting tool. That's what Dan Lanning did. He used
Sarkisian did that. That's where it came from.
Immediately.
Sarkisian did that at Texas.
right afterwards. Exactly.
Right.
And so
and it was not as good.
No. And that's my point is that Oregon is setting the trend on a lot of these things.
They're setting the bar.
Exactly. And what Deshaun Foster was doing was the polar opposite of that. And that's why I had a problem with it. And that's why I thought that he wasn't the steward for the program that was needed, because it is a big time. It should be a big time program, right? I mean, they're getting a full share from the Big Ten for the next 4
Not
years.
should be. They are a big time program.
Well,
but
they're not
now
right
they're
now.
struggling. And they were one of the ones that led the charge to get into the Big Ten along with USC.
Yes.
And now how's that worked out for them?
Well, it's
Not
worked out
good.
for USC fine. They're getting a full share. But for the Big Ten, I think that they're looking at it like, man, I still didn't from the beginning understand why they took USC and UCLA before they would take a school like Oregon. It never made sense to me, ever.
Well, after a winless start to the season, Deshaun Foster is out, and it will be Tim Skipper, who was an interim coach as well at Fresno State, who came over to Deshaun Foster's staff this season. He was brought in as a special assistant, so he wasn't necessarily coaching, which is very interesting to me. Who they named? They didn't name one of the other assistant coaches. His classification is a special assistant. You know what a special assistant does?
They specially assist.
They advise.
They advise. Yeah, they're not like a primary role.
They're not in a room. They're not coaching a position. They are there to help the head coach do their job. And so I find that very interesting. And by the way, UCLA outscored by a total of 108-43 in their first 3 games.
Remember in week 1 when you took them in a big bet?
Thank you very much, Justin. And what did I say after?
That you would never take them ever again.
I wanted to believe. I did.
What
I
were
was
you trying to
probably,
believe in?
I wanted to maybe fly the Big Ten banner a little bit. I don't know.
that's fair.
I don't know what I was trying to believe. I was just like, I was taking a flyer. It
was
was the
week
first
1.
week.
Yeah.
Well, I had no idea.
I know.
Well, thanks for bringing that pain of me bringing that up. Very good.
Well, we're going to be talking about LSU, I think, so
Yeah.
it'll be worth it for me to bring that up because you're going to bring up other things.
And again, Brian Kelly going off. There was a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Not a lot of great games, of course. There were a couple that were incredible. Tennessee, Georgia was an awesome game to watch. That was great,
Especially
theater.
if you're okay with Georgia winning that one.
So I loved what Josh Pate said after. Is people are talking about how Kirby Smart got lucky and everything else. They put themselves in a position to win, and they can blame that Tennessee kicker all day long about missing the 43-yard field goal at the end of regulation that the Vols could have won. In fact, we've got it. No, so they switched to the other game. We had the Georgia-Tennessee game on just a moment ago. Now it's the replay of the LSU Florida game, which was not that great of a game. It was meh as far as I was concerned. But you put yourself in a position to win that game, and then they go into overtime. They stand up defensively, and that was a great win for Georgia. On the road, playing at Neyland Stadium is like going into a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
So have you been there?
No.
I was fortunate enough to be there.
No, it looks very cool, though. I love the stripes.
They
The
do it
checkered,
very
I
well.
guess.
The checkers.
Is it checkers or
It's
stripes?
checkers.
Okay.
It's checkers. And the way they did the fans as well. The fans were aligned,
Well,
man.
that's what I'm talking about,
in the stands. They
yeah.
were awesome. They were absolutely awesome.
No, they definitely. I think that's the kind of stuff I do understand when you talk about, okay, the SEC is a little different. I mean, that stuff is a little bit different. The ability to have the fans have that sort of buy-in to do those certain
And they
things.
do it all over the place. down there.
100%.
Alabama, Auburn, Georgia. So we
Still
had some
think they're
good football
overrated.
this weekend. Yeah. All right. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, it is Mustang Isaac Streeter. Do you think he's going to talk? Can we talk both with him? Did you
We'll
tee this
do a
up?
little pre-show.
Pre-show. So we're actually going to have a production meeting in like 2 minutes?
Yeah.
I love that. Later on, we're going to hear from Dan Lanning.
Yes.
We're going to hear from Trent Bray
Yes, we will.
as well on the program. We're going to relive Big Bets one more time. Sorry, I crushed Mark. He thought he went 4-1. He didn't go 4-1. Coach, he went 2-3. No nickname for you this week. Buccaneers, Texans tonight. Chargers as well playing tonight.
Raiders, yep.
And Raiders right here on Fox Sports Eugene. Back with more in a moment. Danny and Justin. Follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Danny and Justin, and also pod us. Wherever your platform is, we are there like a rocket ship. Just look up Danny and Justin. Like, follow, subscribe. You give us a star or 5, we'll star you back if we're able to do that. I don't know if you can to the fans, but if we could, we would. The Danny and Justin radio program rolls on here live from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios in Eugene and Newport. Thanks for tuning in here for a Monday. The last time I will be on the program for literally, Justin, almost 2 weeks. How are you going to do? Are you going to have a little separation anxiety? Are you going to chew up your dog bed or anything like that? Are you done?
We're just going to take it one day at a time. So I know how things are going to go tomorrow.
You are probably ready for a break from me. It's been a while since I was off the show.
You have been around for a while.
I have been around
nice when you're here.
Just like a bad penny. Let's head on
Love
over.
having Steve Mims here, though, too. I don't want to disparage him.
Blah, 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 blah. Goose is going to be here tomorrow, and then
he'll be here on Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. So not tomorrow. You're on
It
your
will
own
be
tomorrow.
just Justin tomorrow.
Okay. The Danny and Justin radio program. As we head over to the Oregon Man Clinic's hotline at 541-343-5673 and welcome in our third wheel, which we love to have on the program. It's Mustang Isaac Streeter, and you know him, you love him. He is from Sacramento State, and also he is online at Isaac_Streeter and the Portland Tribune personality. He covers Oregon State, and he's our good friend Mustang. So it was pretty ugly this weekend for Oregon State, and Trent Bray had his press conference today, and it didn't get much better.
Yeah, well, first off, guys, thanks for having me on as always. And as you said, it wasn't great. Some tough questions to have to answer today. None of which it seemed Bray was too thrilled to have to take. I think the primary one being his response to being asked if he's still enjoying being a head coach today was next question, which I don't really feel like it gets more telling than that.
Well, so what we just saw down in Southern California, there is a much shorter leash, and it's probably a bad way to describe it, but let's just say what it is. With the arms race that is college football now, with NIL and the transfer portal and the Pac-12 coming back next year, and the urgency, it seems, that the two programs who are suffering right now, Washington State's kind of in the same boat with Jimmy Rogers right now. They didn't look great this weekend as well. They're, I think, 1-2 right now. Oregon State 0-3. They are the flag bearers for this new Pac-12 conference. So is it getting a bit tighter? Is it getting more constrictive for Trent Bray and Corvallis, although the fan base might still be like 50-50?
Yeah, it kind of seems like the fan base is not particularly on his side. I'm not always the best at keeping up with Oregon State fans on Twitter, but for the most part, it sounds like people aren't super happy about the direction of the program, and with this upcoming game against Oregon, it's going to get worse before it gets better for him. And you look down the road after that, it's
Houston.
They host Houston, and then they got to go to App State. You're looking at a legit reality of an 0-6 start. I think that Houston team's better than them, and I'm not entirely. I haven't checked in with App State here in a second, but it's not super pretty, and I think most people would agree with me that Oregon's going to run them out of the building on Saturday, and that's going to be an 0-4 start, which is the worst since 2011, where they lost to my alma mater, Sac State, in the season opener. I had to sneak that one in.
That a boy, good for you.
It's not super pretty right now, and it doesn't really look like things are getting much better. I think they showed some life at certain moments in that Texas Tech game, but when the coach's primary directive afterward in press conferences, which I wasn't able to attend. I didn't make the trip, but
no, I heard it though. I heard it.
Yeah, they're upset with effort, and the week before that, it was the inability to long snap the football, which is shocking. And before that, it was getting punched in the mouth by a freshman quarterback in your own stadium. It seems week after week after week, there's a new issue that arises for this football team.
And by the way, Houston beat Colorado by 16 this past weekend. So Houston's not going to be a pushover, although they've got to make the long trip to Corvallis.
So I guess go ahead, Isaac.
Oh, I was just going to say I watched that Houston game versus Colorado, and it's part of why I don't feel very optimistic for their odds to win that one.
So I guess the question is, you can't bite off more than you can chew. Mm-hmm. So what's the first step here? Like, what does this program need to do? Like, first step, I mean, maybe it's, just, getting someone that can long snap. I don't know. Like, what do you think is the first step here to kind of get things right? Because against Oregon, obviously, it's a tough situation, but there's still a long season. It's only been 3 games. Yep. There's still a lot of time left in the season. So how do you kind of balance that? And what's the first step?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of going back to your point that they've already bitten off more than they can chew, and I kind of think to Bray specifically, I can't off the top of my head think of another coach in college football who's serving as his team's head coach and the defensive coordinator and mostly coaching the linebackers. He's responsible for 3 levels of this team, and I think he has too much on his plate. I'm not of the camp that he thinks it's fire Trent Bray time. I kind of view these 2 transitional years, 2024 and 2025, before the new Pac-12 starts, as kind of the fix-it years for him, because that roster was decimated after Smith left, and obviously there was nothing they could have done about that. That was just the reality of the situation. But I think right now the thing is, like, figure out how to snap the football to the punter. It feels like a redundant thing to say, but it kind of feels stuff. Like you need to be able to accomplish that to win football games. And they beat Fresno State if they can do that. Yeah. I feel pretty strongly about that. And I think they got to figure out the long snapper thing too. It doesn't really seem like it's getting any better. He was pretty non-committal to giving an answer about what they would do at that position this weekend. And Austin might eat them alive with just how loud that place can be. And, they've already had communication issues with a revolving door on the offensive line. There are just a number of areas here where things aren't going great. But, I think you do just kind of, at a certain point, have to figure out how to long snap the football.
Right. What do you make of Malik Murphy so far? He's obviously talented. We've seen a few flashes, but it's just not been consistent. There's times out there where he looks like he doesn't know where to go to the football. He's just kind of
jiving with the offense.
Right. Yeah. Hey, what do you make of what he's been doing so far?
I'm actually still super down with Malik Murphy. I'm a big Pro Football Focus guy.
He did very well on Pro Football Focus.
Yeah. His issue, however, has been pressure, and he, for a quarterback who's 6'5" and nearly 240 pounds, he does not like having pressure in his face. Which, I mean, who among us? But he's really struggled in that category of the game. It kind of all drops off. He's been really good off play action. He's really good operationally between the numbers. Like there are NFL throws in there. I think he was the highest graded G5 quarterback in the country after the Fresno State game. Like I would not put the fault on Malik Murphy at all. I think he's done his job. Obviously, he's the quarterback, and they end up bearing more responsibility than I think they're often supposed to. But really, the offensive line has done him no favors. They can't run the football right now, and I fear for how they're going to attempt to do it against Oregon.
Isaac Streeter joins us. We call him Mustang. He is the scribe for the Portland Tribune. He covers Oregon and Oregon State, and we're talking Oregon State right now. And obviously, it's Civil War weeks. It's the big week. We don't know when the game's going to get played again after this year, but Isaac knows ball, so we're going to talk to him about what we might be looking for this weekend as well. And, I don't want to talk too much about the game because I think there's very few games I would say I know what the outcome's going to be, but I kind of think with the disarray, and I know that there's Oregon State fans that want to hold out hope that they can pull off like what they did in Washington, I don't know, back in the 80s or whatever, when they were 37-point underdogs to the Huskies, and they pull off the miracle there. I don't think that's going to happen this weekend at Autzen Stadium. You talked about the offensive side of the ball, Isaac. I want to move to the defensive side of the football. And it seems like, and especially since Trent Bray is the defensive coordinator, he wanted that mantle back, and he's also coaching linebackers. What are we seeing about this defense that needs to get flipped again? Is it start with the line and then move outward, or is it just the DBs are getting overwhelmed, or the linebackers aren't flying to the football? What are you seeing? What are you noticing?
Yeah, I tweeted about this early yesterday. Again, going back to the Pro Football Focus stuff, they graded that defensive line as having kind of the best game of the Trent Bray era, actually against Texas Tech. They had 14 quarterback pressures through the first 2 weeks and had 15 in Lubbock. So, I mean, you're doubling your production up front. They only have one sack. I haven't checked it nationally, but I imagine it's the worst, if not one of the worst. But the defensive line is showing improvements. Obviously, Kai Wallen was a big transfer portal get for them from Nebraska, and he didn't play. Bray notoriously doesn't speak about injuries.
Yeah, but I mean, they gave up 2 third and 20-plus yard game. I mean, it's inconceivable.
Yeah, you go back and you watch that tape, you'll see defensive backs walking on that play, and it was something Bray was not happy about. And both of those, they're throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage or, at it, and or just getting eaten alive in that aspect of it. So I think the defensive line has steps to go. I think they are improving and getting to Vito Pomee kind of back to health. Their nose tackle will be very handy whenever he returns. But the secondary is so young as well, and they were playing, you look at the depth chart and snap counts, they were down to, 5 backups out there, essentially. Still haven't gotten Exodus Ayers back. His situation is a mess. But the team is, defensively, I think they've played better. I think Texas Tech outmatched them. But they played really well against Fresno State, in my opinion, just other than the special teams errors, which really held them back, and played better against Cal as well. They got better against Cal after this couple opening drives.
What's your ceiling for this team in this season still? I mean, we've kind of talked about the first 5-6 games. Look, I mean, they're probably not going to get a win. It's going to be unlikely for them to. But there's still a lot of winnable games at that back half of the schedule. And obviously, when you get to that back half of the schedule, if you're kind of a winless team, that's going to be hard to just dig yourself out of that hole. So where do you think the ceiling is just for this season? I know it's a rebuild year, but you still got to play the whole year.
Yeah, I think the ceiling might be 6-6 at this point. I think maybe they pull out one of the Houston or App State games, and I don't think you beat Washington State twice, especially if you got to go there. Obviously, that program's in some disarray as well, but as a personal victim of South Dakota State football, I know Jimmy Rogers can coach. I know Jimmy Rogers can coach. I think they're eventually going to get that one figured out.
Yeah.
But 6-6, I think you would kind of take that and be happy about it. You're bowl eligible at that point, but that's the ceiling. If that's the ceiling, I mean, things have gone poorly.
Portland Tribune's Isaac Streeter joining us. You can follow him on Twitter, Isaac_Streeter, and he's on the Oregon Man Clinic's hotline at 541-343-5673 on the Danny and Justin radio program. So we are not going to be these guys, and I know you're not as well, but we've got to ask the question because people want to know, and we do like to ask a tough question once in a while. So in your opinion, is Trent Bray in real trouble here if this team is 0-6?
No.
Okay.
And I say that just because if I'm going to put the tinfoil hat on for a second, that's kind of how I feel about this stuff. I think what they would like best is to keep him as defensive coordinator and then maybe figure out head coach. And maybe that's just me playing college football dynasty with work. But, he can call a defense. That was very evident during the 23 and 22 seasons. Like the guy can call a defense.
And he was elevated. He was elevated to that position under Jonathan Smith during the year, mid-season. Right? Am I right there?
That predates my time covering the team, but I do know he was elevated from linebackers coach to defensive coordinator. The exact timeline is slipping my mind, so apologies. I'm sure someone's.
No, I got it. I'm looking at it right now. I was right.
Sure. But yeah, I think like I think that would kind of be the grand plan here is maybe that's what occurs. But no, I don't think he's in a legitimate hot seat just because they don't even have a conference yet. It's kind of hard to run the head coach off for 2 years when you gave him, kind of college football purgatory. And if they go 5-7 and 6-6 in 2 years, he got purgatory results. So no, I don't actually think he's in jeopardy of being let go. But I will say his buyout's a lot cheaper than what his name slipped in my mind. The coach who predated Smith, Gary Anderson. Gary Anderson was more expensive to fire, and they did that. But we'll see.
Well, so I think there is a little bit more pressure, and I agree with you, Isaac, but I think there is a little bit more pressure because of what's looming for the Pac-12. And again, the flag bearers of this new conference are Oregon State and Washington State, so I think there's equal pressure on both of those schools to be the guys. I mean, they don't want to just turn over the Pac-12 and say, now Boise State's our leader. They want, no, I'm serious,
you're
right?
No, you're right.
They want to be the ones that say, you know what, it runs through us. And that's why I think this foundation needs to be laid. And I'm in agreement with you, but there's a certain aspect that I look at as well. And Oregon can have this same viewpoint, is that Mark Helfrich was elevated from offensive coordinator to head coach with a bunch of Chip Kelly guys. And honestly, there are coaches that are better as coordinators versus being head coaches. That's just the fact. That's a reality.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I think that's the boat Bray's in. I mean, you can't give a less committal answer to, are you happy being a head coach, than next question. It's very easy in the PR world to just say yes and move on there. But if he's choosing to say no question, I don't know how happy he is as the head coach. I don't know him personally. I don't think he even knows my name. But I sit there every Monday and I listen to him talk, and I can, kind of see how this has gone. And I think there's a world where he would just be happy to be the defensive coordinator, and they either hire from within again, maybe, Gundy becomes head coach, or they go external. We'll see how that plays out. But I think there are coaches who are better suited to just be coordinators, and I think Bray's one of them.
All right. Well, Isaac, we always appreciate your input and your insight, and we love that you cover this program as well as you do, because it helps us be smarter. So thanks for lending your talent to our little program. And can you make dinner maybe tonight for the girlfriend? Is that in the cards? Is she going to be home tonight, or you can order something in?
Potentially. I'm actually a pretty decent cook. I'm the better cook of the two of us for those, keeping cat. And she would be none too pleased that I've said this, but I'm certainly the cook, and I'm not sure what she's up to tonight, but we'll certainly see.
All right, watch a little Monday Night Football. You got 2 chances to watch Monday Night Football tonight.
Surely.
2 games. Attaboy. Thanks again for the time, buddy. We appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for having me on as always. Sorry to be doom and gloom today.
No. We worked it out. We
tell
made
how
some.
it is.
Yeah, that's right. We made some lemonade. Sometimes these things aren't easy, but this is why we have these conversations. And I think it's good. I think it's spirited. If that enthralls the fan base and gets them involved, that's what we're about here on the Danny and Justin Radio program. Isaac, be well.
Thanks, boys.
There he goes, the great Isaac Streeter. Do we have music going out of this whole thing, or do you just want to go right into? No, we got audio, right? From Trent.
We're gonna.
Yeah, so let's hear from Trent Bray first, right after we get back from. No. We can.
Are we taking a break or not?
I thought you wanted to take a break, or do we just want to go to audio? All right, let's take a break, and then we'll come back. We'll do the audio, and then we'll do dad joke, and then we'll say goodbye.
Let's do it. Sounds like a good plan.
We really need to have production meetings. Justin's trying to go off of my cues, and I'm like giving him sign language that he doesn't understand. That's the problem here, folks. It's my fault. I will take the hit on that. The Danny and Justin radio program, live from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios in Eugene and Newport. Thanks for tuning in here for a Monday. Talking about separation anxiety, I think I'm going to have that. Up to Seattle tonight, and then I'm back home. You're taking me and my wife to the airport on Thursday, off to Hawaii for a week, back home for 2 days, and then I'm off to New Orleans.
Well, I'm not taking you to all those places. I'm just taking you to the airport.
Right. But thank you for that. So the
You're
airport
welcome.
pickup and drop off is probably one of the most important things that a friend can do for another friend.
It's like maybe like a long snap, you might say.
The
Just
Danny
a critical part of the game.
The Danny and Justin radio program live from the Bigfoot Beverages studios.
The quarterback center exchange.
In Eugene and Newport. Oh, buddy, I love you. All right, so let's start with some Trent Bray audio. He was not eviscerated in the press conference that he had a couple of hours ago. However, there were tough questions. Bill Oram was asking a few, and there were others. And Trent Bray is starting, I think the best way to describe this is the collar's getting a little tight around the neck.
Yeah.
And he knows it. And listen, this is a guy that bleeds black and orange. He loves Oregon State. So let's separate that out from it as
cares.
well.
He wants to win just as
definitely
much as
cares.
everybody else.
So let's not say that it's not a want to. It's a how to with Trent Bray right now.
And he was basically just asked in the press conference, why are you the right person to lead this program?
Do you believe you're still the right person to lead this program?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think for the same reason when I took it over. That's love this place, love this program. I think we got good coaches. We got good players. We got to continue to get better and continue to get the best out of these guys.
And I think that's the only. Listen, there are certain things you can answer.
Right. What is he supposed to say?
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm the right guy to lead
Right.
this program, so I'm just going to go ahead. And we've already had that conversation, and I wouldn't be talking to you if I didn't think I would.
Sure.
That's not going to happen. Of course he does. And when we saw them, the one practice we got to see live up there, I mean, I think both of us came away with, wow, there's energy. They're moving from station to station. They actually look pretty good. Malik Murphy was
the
a
eye
huge
test.
dude.
It was eye test, and the eye test they passed. It was like, yeah, this is a Division I football team.
And I will just keep going back to it just one last time, is Fresno State could be the Nevada Reno of last year for Oregon State. I think if they would have won that game and even put up a good showing against Texas Tech, which they didn't, by the way,
No.
then it would have looked a little differently for Trent Bray and his squad, especially in the optimism side. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. It certainly was not like when you basically came away from the Texas Tech game, which, by the way, especially with the delay, I wonder how. The one thing I wonder is how much the delay affected everything. Yeah, because they had a couple minutes and then.
But both locker rooms, though.
No, I understand that, but I just. You see
It's
this
a
all the
fair
time.
question. It's a fair question.
You see all the. I don't know how much people are talking about this, to be honest with you, because it just sort of like the delay happened and then we moved on to this blowout. But I think that you see this a lot of time, for instance, in baseball with all the weather delays that they have, where you have a team that. And then I brought this up with Brian on the post game show that we did with the Super Bowl with the 49ers and the Ravens. You remember that where there was that big delay and different because it's in the middle of the game. But
well, the Cubs and the Guardians when they had the rain delay.
100%. So those things actually do affect the game. There's like that edge that you have when you start playing, and then you are
or a chance to recover.
100%. 100%. I mean, that's the 49ers and the Ravens. The Ravens absolutely, momentum-wise, were reeling.
It's a great point.
And then they came back after that light power outage, and they were able to come back. But just for Trent Bray, I mean, one of the tough questions he was asked as well, and it's early in the season, is why didn't you do anything with the special teams coordinator, Christensen?
Well, it's never a good idea to make changes second game of the season. When you talk about who's leading your staff, all those things, it's just not a good idea.
We're going to have Dan Lanning here in a moment. In fact, he'll be coming up next. I like the loyalty to his staff, but at the same time, you have to make that evaluation as critical as you're going to be about yourself. As the guy who runs the organization, sometimes you have to make tough calls. And I think there's a part of Trent Bray that knows that it's going to affect a family. It's going to affect a career in some way, positive or negative. And what just happened down in Southern California with Deshaun Foster being let go after an 0-3 start, after a second bad season, only a season and 3 games, let go in a high-profile program. The room for error at this level is very, very thin. And we talked about it when Trent Bray went off on and did the F-bomb and everything. There are coaches that can get away with that if they've got 10, 12 years under their belt and they've won national championships and such. Trent Bray's not in that category yet. So that room for error is much smaller.
And for Trent Bray as well, I think that he's just got to... I don't know. It's a tough situation right now, right? I mean, the thing is, I think there's some validity about him saying, hey, there's plans we've made at the beginning of the season just started. You can't just all of a sudden now rip up all those plans and then think of a new plan with a new guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have the way that you're expecting the season to go. And
if Trent Bray would have been at UCLA or USC or Alabama or Georgia and he would have had these last year and 3 games, he would have been gone.
100%.
So there is a bit more of a runway you get in Corvallis versus what you would get in some of those other programs. And we are not going to advocate for anybody to get fired in any way, shape, or form. However, the reality is that the Pac-12 revival is right around the corner, and the administration at Oregon State and at Washington State, they want to see progress on the field and victories. That is the name of the game. And especially when you're in a national TV audience and you get embarrassed like that, that is not a good look.
Let's get a couple of quotes from Dan Lanning here. Oregon's 34-14 victory, but they did lose the fourth quarter 14-3. So Dan Lanning talking about the lack of killer instinct.
Thought we lacked a little killer instinct there at the end, and that's, our standard can't change. I want to give a lot of credit to Northwestern. I thought they came out here with a good plan. They executed well on their side of the ball, and outside of some turnovers, I think they were right in this game. But they had a good plan for us. They executed well. I thought we came with some answers, and were able to create some things there, especially early in the second half, create some of our run game that we needed to have in this game. I thought our quarterback made great decisions, but ultimately those takeaways and being able to score early and play some good defense early, more advantageous defense than great defense, allowed us to come away with the win.
Deere Hill Jr., a big 66-yard run, a couple other chunk plays, but overall, a little bit of a lack of explosives that I think Oregon fans were expecting. So here's Dan Lanning's explanation on the lack of explosives.
We had plenty of stuff set up, but again, I thought they defended it well. That defense is tough at times to create some of the explosives because of the brand that they play. And if they win on first down, they're able to play cover 2, Tampa on second down, and you can't have success moving the ball, right? You're going to have a hard time creating explosives when they're too high, right? And what's that mean? You got to run the ball and be effective on first down. You got to be able to run the ball on second and long. And at times we did that. I think we started off the second half, 3 series, three scores, right? And that's what we got to do. I think same thing defensively. We started off the second half, 3 stops, but ultimately we didn't get enough stops there at the end. We got the win, but that's not our expectation.
So I kind of, and I think you might agree with me, Justin, on this, I kind of like that it was not a 69-3 game or a 69-10 game, because now Dan Lanning gets to reset the team and go, you know what? You guys aren't going to run over everybody. Now, they dominated this game once they got going. Listen, Northwestern had a great plan. They gashed Oregon's defensive line downhill with the running game. But that is what's going to get Tosh Lupoy and his defense to look at that film and figure that out.
And one thing we have to keep in mind, this is the last opportunity that Oregon has to play a team before they play Penn State. They can't play the way they played against Northwestern, against Penn State.
Absolutely not. Otherwise, they will get
a joke.
I got fired from the bank today. A woman asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her.
Dad jokes.
Why are HVAC techs always so efficient? This is a long one.
Okay.
Because they have their ducks in a row. Ducks, like ductwork. Okay, sorry. See, I'm explaining my own joke. That's probably not
no,
good.
I needed that, actually. That one,
right.
That one was good.
And by the
Good
way,
explanation.
our P1 down there in Phoenix area keeps blowing my text up because I predicted on his show that Oregon State was going to win 10 games. And every time I talk about Oregon State he says, I thought somebody said they were going to win 10 games. Yeah, that's before I saw them play. This is, I hope, a 6-win team. All right, I'm out of here for the next few weeks.
Have fun.
It's just, dude, it's your ship now. It is your ship.
I'm going to keep the train on the tracks.
Put a smile on face someone else's. They deserve it, so do you. God bless. Thanks for listening. Treat Baby J and Goose well. I'm out of here for a couple of weeks. Aloha. Peace.